everyone, welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. In today's video, I wanted to show you how I create this kind of transparency, and this is my attempt of painting an anemone. So I have made several attempts, kind of like this with indigo and this with purple. I really like the purple, so I am going to try to recreate this one. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the materials. And as always, a link to all the materials is in the description below. So let's jump right into the tutorial on how I paint something like this. Okay, so as always, I am using Arches watercolor paper that is cold pressed, and it is 140 pounds cold press Arches. This is what I typically use. I just cut it down to smaller pieces and I end up with a small piece kind of like this. Then this is my mixing plate of the colors that I typically use, and I am going to use this purple color, but of course you can use any color you like. I am also going to use this Raphael brush and maybe a little bit of indigo, but this is the main brush that I am going to use. So I am going to get my paint ready, and I just want to water it down as much as I can. I want a very transparent layer as the base layer for my flower. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a lot of water to my brush. Now for the flower, I know for a fact that it has a very big kind of center. And this is where the center of my flower is gonna go, and there is kind of a space that goes in the middle and then the petals. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with 5 petals. It is my understanding that an anemone has 5 petals, so I'm just gonna kind of do that. They're kind of wide, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space right here. Now with very high value kind of indigo, I mean not indigo but purple, just like without mixing it too much with water, I want to create a very good contrast right here and let it just kind of bleed on its own. I might want to go ahead and add a little bit here at the edges, here and there, just for extra contrast. I am going to let it completely dry, but in the meantime, I am going to use a little bit of indigo for the center. So I'm going to use very little water because I want the indigo to be very intense. So it's a very dark value indigo. I'm just gonna go ahead and stipple right here, kind of like this, and create the center of the flower. I'm just going to leave it like this, and I am going to let it completely dry. Okay, so now I can see that this entire thing is completely dry. like the petals are completely dry, what we're going to do is paint petals on top, kind of in the interval of the other ones. So it is the exact same step. I am going to water down some of this purple, maybe a little bit darker, but it's mainly the same color, and it's going to be the same thing. So it's just soft petals, and see how you keep or retain the transparency below. So that is really fun. A tiny little bit more water with a little bit more pigment, because we need to really see where the petal is and the edges. Now again, with a kind of very dark purple, we're gonna go around with, that's a little bit much, a little bit more water. We're gonna go ahead and give it some contrast on the edges to really emphasize where the petals are. There you go. So we are gonna go ahead and wait for this layer to dry, and then we will add the last details. In the meantime, what we can do is with this green, which is a mixture of cadmium yellow and a little bit of indigo, I make this green, and we can add leaves or the stem of the flower while this dries. So really using the same brush, I'm going to grab a little bit of cadmium yellow and a little bit of indigo. I really like a very dark green, so I add a lot of indigo. And I can go ahead and maybe do something very simple. Maybe a leaf. Maybe we can add a little bit more of a leaf. Well, I think I like this. The more simple the better. Just kind of give it a little bit more contrast with some indigo. As a side note, I would like to mention that anemones have very ruffled kind of leaves, and a very thick kind of stem, and a very wide kind of center. So you can see the layers of the petals, but the leaves are kind of ruffled. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my leaves. So I'm trying to add kind of leaves that are very ruffled in shape. So that is what I'm aiming for. And you guys can find this book on Amazon. It is a wonderful, wonderful book that I use as reference with a lot of my paintings, my botanical paintings. So you can go ahead and check the link down in the description and below. But that's why I wanted to mention that I'm painting my leaves kind of in that ruffle, disorganized kind of way. Just kind of very loose, really. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait until this completely dry, and I am going to add the, I think they're called pistils, around, and I am going to use a different brush. So I'll get back to you guys in a second about the next step. So for the final step, I am going to use a mixture of these two brushes. I am going to use this Winsor & Newton number 0 for the details, like the smaller details. But I am going to use the same brush I've been using for the whole painting for the pistils. So I am going to use the very tip of the brush. I am dousing it with indigo, and I am going to go ahead and paint little dots around. This was not completely dry right here, but it's alright. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and just paint little lines like this. Okay, that is all, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial on my YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and all the materials are always in the description in the box below. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the materials, about the technique, or if you have any suggestions, please let me know. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.